fight cause I'm very nice. I practice that every night to get on this herd mic. You know I'm alert, right? You know that it ain't nothing to serve, right? And I be killing tracks to the earth like my birthright. I'm solid like sound money and you fools sound.
All right, welcome to 3 Count Commentaries. Let's talk about John Cena, Roman Reigns, Baron Corbin, and Finn Balor. All right, so this was a good chunk of SmackDown here, with Cena doing an opening promo that was then interrupted by Baron Corbin, and then we brought all of that to Finn Balor and Roman Reigns' contract signing. So we start off with John Cena, who says that if you could find somebody who could keep a missionary position interesting for 2 decades, you should keep them. All right, that was a nice little turnaround. I like that. I mean, of course, he had a week to think about it, but it was a nice little turnaround. So then he starts talking about the reason Roman rejected his challenge, but accepted the Finn Balor's challenge. And it says his reason is stupid. That, you know, wanting me to change is like wanting Stone Cold Steve Austin to change, like wanting The Rock to change. And he says that you don't do that. I don't need to do that. You know, people love me or hate me or respond to me how I am. But it's different for you, you know, who he called a lazy stooge named Joe. Joe, the lazy stooge, who has to change every 2 years or people will stop caring about him. And that he's afraid to fail and a product of the machine. You know, so, which is really strange for John Cena to say about somebody, about being a product of the machine. That's really interesting. Ooh. But he says that, you know, Roman didn't accept his challenge, not because of how he looks, but because of how he would make him look. And, you know, these Cena promos where he kind of goes, like I said, he goes Superman, you know, where he kind of tried to cut to the bone of the issue. And the bone of contention is, I can be who I am and people still love me, while you have to continually make yourself quote unquote interesting by changing and, you know, creating new, you know, all this type of stuff, this whole new persona. And it was in a way of, again, we're saying, I know I repeat myself sometimes, but it goes to the concept of, you know, again, the death of the old gods. Cena is saying, you know, hey, I don't have to change. I am accepted how I am. I am known how I am. You know, this is how the legion of followers or legion of fans that I have, this is how they know me. This is how they relate to me. This is how we relate to each other. And you, who doesn't really have that relationship, has to constantly change because you're afraid of failing. You're afraid of, you know, not living up to expectations. But it's also that superheroic way of, I know what you're really thinking. It's the utopian concept of, I know what you're really thinking. I know what you're really trying to do. You know, mind reading. You know, I hate mind reading, especially, it's okay in television. It's not okay. Well, I shouldn't say, let me be clear. It's okay in fictional television for you to be like, I know what the real issue is. But when we get to that kind of stuff in real life, it's a big problem when you're trying to tell people what their motives and stuff like that are. But in this situation, it's fine, you know, for him to tell Roman, oh, you're just scared. You're a scared little boy. You're scared I'm going to embarrass you. Trying to use shaming language, which of course is not going to work with Roman. You can't shame him into doing anything he doesn't want to do. So that's not going to work. But he seemed pretty content in Roman not accepting his challenge, which was odd for John Cena, but it was a good babyface thing to do. He didn't try to take anything from Finn Balor, or did he? Or did he? Because now Roman has inherited The Undertaker's 3-minute entrance, which is probably even longer than that. Roman eats up a lot of television time. Like just walking to the ring, and he eats up a lot of TV time. So the crowd chants for Cena. He calls Cena Mr. Missionary, said that we've seen him already. And then tried to manipulate Finn Balor by saying that, you know, Cena thinks that you're a lesser opponent, that you're less than him. He says, but I don't think so. I think you're worthy. I think you're hungry. I think you really, really want this. And I dig that about you. So he says, but I'm going to give you a chance. You sign this contract, I'm going to smash you and send you back to NXT. So Finn Balor says he'd be glad to go back to NXT as a Universal Champion. Roman signs the contract, but before Finn Balor signs it, here comes Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin, who earlier in the night had come out and begged John Cena for an opportunity. He asked John Cena for help. And Cena, of course, was like, should we help this man? And the crowd was like, no, don't help. I hate that Baron Corbin is poor, admittedly poor. He's shaggy. He's shabby. He's gray. And he walks around with a stained shirt that is unbuttoned, and people still don't want to help him. They're still like, no, Baron Corbin sucks. Well, before we get into it, Baron Corbin is doing a really good job. He's doing a fantastic job at this character, at being real despondent and being desperate. I don't know if y'all saw the promo that they WWE posted on Twitter, but he explained how he managed to get in this position. That he was making $20,000 a week when he was the king of the ring, and he was able to go out and buy all of these fancy things, new houses, new trucks, new cars. But since he lost the crown, all the money is gone. Now he's got to try to find a way to take care of himself. And it was a very real story. It was almost like he had his own personal stock market crash. Like he lost everything. And it happened so fast. Like that's the fictional concept of it. And sometimes when you lose your job, all of a sudden it's like Fun with Dick and Jane. If you've ever seen that movie, where Dick loses his job and it's like almost immediate that they don't have any money anymore. Of course they do the wrestling time in movies. You could speed it up in the movie by, him, going to job offers and getting made fun of and stuff like that. But he doesn't have any money. And it shows that if you have a higher level of a higher income lifestyle, it's hard to maintain. And that part is true, that some people are one paycheck away from poverty, and they set it up really, really, really well by him talking about his spending, not talking about, oh, I was rich and now I'm not. It was basically, I was spending all this money while I was rich, thinking that the money was never going to stop. And then the money stopped, so he had nothing saved up, and, he had all these trinkets and everything. So it was almost like he was $1 million athlete, because that's kind of how these athletes end up going broke. And except that they did it in a real truncated amount of time. So he's been doing a really good job. He's been doing a great job. And he comes in to John Cena. He asks John Cena for help. And John Cena, of course, gives him some money out of his pocket and said, look, this is all I got. And Baron Corbin just looks at these crumpled up bills, these folded up bills. And he's like, this is it? You're John Cena. You're a Hollywood actor. You're rich, man. You're a movie star. This is it? And Cena just looked at him and was like, what? He says, help me out. It doesn't have to be money. Put me in your movies. I want to be your stunt double. And Cena was like, what? So, of course, they do this back and forth. And Baron Corbin then says that Cena is selfish. And because he's a selfish, entitled Hollywood sellout. And then, of course, he gets what he deserves in an attitude adjustment. This has been going really, really good for Baron Corbin. This is excellent. This is very, very entertaining. I'm enjoying the shit out of Baron Corbin being an absolute... Look, and here's the crazy thing, because there's so many layers to that character, in that I have dealt with panhandlers. And I think everybody has, when you give them $2 or $3, they like, look, this it? That's it? I just saw you with like a 20 or whatever. Like, man, that's it. And you kind of get the idea, like, what the fuck? Like, I didn't want to give you what I gave you. I'll never forget. It's time for an anecdote. Hold on. So I was with some homeboys, and my dude was trying to impress this girl, right? So we were going to, I think, KFC at the time when and he went into KFC, and we were walking past this guy. He was panhandling outside KFC, and he was like, brother, you got some change, brother? You got some, so yada, yada, yada. I'm just trying to get something to eat. So my dude went into KFC, ordered food for the guy outside, and was like, I'm not going to give you money because you might go buy alcohol or something like that. But if you want food, here. And the dude was just kind of like, was picking through the chicken and was like, it's spicy. I don't even know about that. And dude was just like, look, man, you gonna eat this shit or I'm gonna throw it away. but but I'm not giving you cash. That's just not about to happen. And he gave him a little bit of a lecture about, hey, you should go do this, you could go do that. And of course, my man was just trying to he was trying to help him, but he was also kind of adding a little bit because there was some chicks with us, so he was kind of like adding a little bit. He's playing it up. He's putting on airs a little bit, but he probably would have gave him the cash if the girls weren't there. But he went in there and bought the guy like a, what was it, like a 6-piece or something like that. And it was a nice gesture. I'm the kind of guy that would give you cash. But you do have these situations where people look a gift horse in the mouth. It's very relatable. So you got to zoom back to Balor and Roman. So in this situation, you have Balor about to sign the contract. Here comes Baron Corbin. Boom. I love that Roman didn't respond to any of this stuff. He just kind of sat there and watched it happen as Baron Corbin just absolutely destroys Finn Balor. And this is again very good because one, we thought that this desperate, sad Baron Corbin was supposed to be a face turn, but it's instead him still being a heel. And because he's still being mean when it comes to panhandling and stuff like that. And we can tell that he's desperate. That he really, really wants, he thinks I can get this big match. I mean, at first, when I first saw it, I was like, okay, did Roman hire him? Because Roman's not responding. He's kind of sitting there watching what's happening. I'm thinking, okay, did Roman hire Corbin to do this? Or what's happening? And then I was like, okay, well, the title match equals money. It's a main event. All right. It makes sense. So it's not just the title. It's also being in the title match at SummerSlam can net him a big paycheck. And so he comes out there and he's going to steal this match from Finn Balor. John Cena comes out there, fights off Baron Corbin, and then he signs the contract. So, Cena, Roman, SummerSlam, it is official. Going to say I didn't like it. I didn't like the Cena signing the contract. I think Cena, what he should have done is protected the contract for Finn Balor. Like he should have just took it from Baron Corbin and then threatened to sign it. But been the babyface, the good guy, and says, no, this is Balor's match. I'm not going to take Balor's match from him. And then maybe we find out during that Baron Corbin injured Finn Balor, like he injured his wrist or something like that. He wasn't going to be able to be at SummerSlam anyway. And Cena still has the contract. And he's like, well, if Balor is out because of Baron Corbin and you don't have an opponent for SummerSlam, I'm going to put my name on this contract. We should have fully eliminated Finn Balor first. Having Cena just take it from him is bullshit. And I didn't like it when they did it with Shawn Michaels and Chris Benoit. I don't remember if y'all remember that, but I happened to see it. Again, I wasn't watching wrestling at the time. But I saw the clips around WrestleMania 20. And I saw that, Benoit had won the Royal Rumble. He's about to sign the contract to wrestle Triple H. And then Shawn signed it. He attacked Benoit, super kicked him, and then signed the contract. And then that's how they ended up making it a triple threat match. Because Shawn and Triple H were in every match all through that era. And I didn't like it then. I didn't see it as being a babyface thing to do. In that situation, Shawn actually attacked Benoit, if I remember correctly. But in this situation, it's just Cena taking advantage of Baron Corbin, who had already attacked Finn Balor. It's like, Batman sees, the Joker, not the Joker, because Joker wouldn't do this, sees like some of Two-Face's goons robbing a bank, right? And he just swoops in, beats these guys up, and then decides, well, since the money's already out, I'm just going to take the money. It's like, no, that's not what Batman would do. That's not what Superman would do. It's not what John Cena would do. John Cena wouldn't say, well, since somebody's going to steal this spot, might as well be me. It's like, no, that's not what he would do. Okay. And I think that the crowd reaction kind of showed that people were kind of like, oh, so that's how he going to do it? That's how we going to get here? We're going to get here by Cena just swiping Finn Balor's spot because of Baron Corbin? That's just not good. That's not good. I'm gonna knock off points for that. You have to think about these things a little bit deeper than that. You could have just done a kayfabe injury to take Finn Balor out of the situation. And that could have been our introduction to the miserable Finn Balor. You know, him saying, every time I come back here, I get screwed. You know, that kind of thing. And I really wanted more of that from him anyway. But I think this is how we get there. You know, he's going to lose his match at SummerSlam. He's going to end up having to fight Baron Corbin. And, you know, maybe he's going to be waiting in the wings after SummerSlam. But I think this should really make him embittered. He should really have a problem with John Cena after this. And that's what I'm looking forward to next week. I'm looking forward to Finn Balor getting in John Cena's face, saying how he stole his title match. And that he has a problem with that. You know, similar to, and I know it's a similar situation to Seth Rollins and Edge. But I really, that needs to happen in this instance, because this literally happened. You know, it's not like in the Seth Rollins situation where it's all in his head. They never said that he was going to get a contract to wrestle for the title. It was, you know, Seth Rollins having a sense of entitlement. In this situation, Finn Balor literally had the match. It was literally written down on paper. The only thing that happened is he was attacked before he could sign it and somebody else signed it. He was literally gypped out of a title shot. So he should get in the middle of the ring. So when the Cena comes out next Friday, get in the ring and say, what are you doing? Like, you stole my title match. You're an asshole. You know, and Cena's like, oh, I'll give you the first match after SummerSlam or something like that. But that needs to be the linchpin for Finn Balor saying every time I leave NXT is a problem. And, you know, not this time. Things are going to change around here. And he needs to flip. Maybe not turn heel, but he needs to be a lot more aggressive. And he needs to go back to being the prince. So we can all have fun again. But ultimately, how we got to Roman and Cena at SummerSlam was not interesting to me. I thought it was out of character for John Cena. I thought it was out of character for a babyface. Roman had appropriate responses as far as his body language. He didn't sell it too much. He didn't jump up and slam the table down or, you know, anything like that. He just kind of took it and he kind of growled like he got outsmarted. But he really didn't get outsmarted because it wasn't his plan. Unless it was his plan and we find out that he told Baron Corbin to attack Finn Balor, which is entirely possible. But ultimately, I think everything up to Cena signing the contract was pretty good. I enjoyed the Cena Corbin stuff. I thought it went a little too long. Cena's promos always go a little bit too long. And that made them rush through the matches. Because a lot of the matches seemed like they had just like gas on them. There was probably like 4 minutes, but there was like complete action all the time. And but that was it. You know, so it was okay. I'm enjoying some of the character work. But I didn't like that Cena just signed the contract. Because it's kind of like, that's stealing, bro. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel. If you want to sponsor the channel, hit the link tree that's in the description. And go to Subscribestar, which is, you know, $5 a month to help the channel out. And thank you guys for your time. And I'll talk to you guys later, man.
Your skin tone, so why attach yourself and piggyback the wealth you didn't earn or lack yourself? I'm telling you to own up to your own success and failures. It's a reason why these sleazy